the flesh machine. With this new megatechnics, the dominant minority will create a uniform, all-enveloping, superplanetary structure designed for automatic operation. Instead of functioning actively as an autonomous personality, man will become a passive, purposeless, machine-conditioned animal whose proper functions, as technicians now interpret man's role, will either be fed into the machine or strictly limited and controlled for the benefit of depersonalized collective organizations. Lewis Mumford. Lewis Mumford long ago made the observation that the first components of the mega-machine, the infusion of technology in society, were made of flesh and blood, proverbially speaking. It has long been the dream of the technocrats to make the flesh the last in an absolutely literal sense. While Mumford was talking about the coordinated efforts it took to build monuments and to clear and plow fields in the Mesolithic era, the programmers of our time just want to remove the clunkiness and messiness of their apparatus from our view. This was the vision of progress that we had been sold. The future would be better. The machine would deliver us from drudgery. Its apparent purpose, as stated by former advertising executive turned neo-Luddite Jerry Mander, is to eliminate human ailments and human unhappiness, to expand the human potential and create a world of abundance for human enjoyment. Meanwhile, driving the unstated purpose to fulfill the interest drive of technological society to feed its own evolutionary cravings, to expand its domination of both Earth and space, and to complete the utter conversion of nature into commodity form. For many of us, the failures of progress are no surprise. This is a mythos as distraction. Your sacrifice now will benefit you later. It is not only a religious imperative, it is the origin of religious thought only to be readapted as seen fit through time, a cosmological delayed return economy. And within modernity, that adaptation grew into and through the allure of new technology. Change comes into the picture. Marshall McLuhan spotted it with the printing press. Jerry Mander spotted it in the television. When Mumford saw the thread, he saw strong hints at the potential of the computer, but he seemingly would have hoped it could have not gotten to the point where we are now. Change is expected, integration is constant. Speed itself, as John Zerzan aptly notes, has become virtue. We have suddenly found ourselves at a strange impasse where narratives have collided. The need for the sales pitch of progress has been surpassed by the want for the new. We aren't questioning the expectation that we are always available, always on. We are lining up for the newest devices to further those intrusions, fighting for them. Getting to this point didn't happen overnight. But even within the history of technology, it all happened with unthinkable speed. The mobile phone took a remarkably fast slide from toy of the ultra-rich to nearly universal acceptance. By 2013, 91% of the adult population in the U.S. owned at least one. The unprecedented nature of this has led two industry proponents to applaud the near-universal acceptance of mobile phones as the most quickly adopted consumer technology in the history of the world. Gloating in their sickening book, Networked, authors Lee Rainey and Barry Wellman state, "The mobile revolution has allowed information and community technologies to become body appendages, allowing people to access friends and information at will, wherever they go. The key being always accessible, but in true form they see the possibility of a continued presence and pervasive awareness of others in the network positively. The architects of civilization have long understood that the power of the domestication process lies in its ability to be internalized. The mythos of progress requires daily affirmation. The programmers, however, realized that affirmation could become integrated. They just needed to eliminate any distance between a given technology and the user. Lo and behold, a trip into a recently built suburb or even newly gentrified city will show that the eyesore of power lines have been rid from sight. We go wireless so we no longer see the machine as separate. Unsightly and inconvenient wiring goes to routers in corners and under furniture. Corporations sponsor Wi-Fi hotspots to customers. We remove the wiring from sight to internalize its function. And this has sadly been effective, very effective. What you see when you step into public places are faces illuminated by backlit devices. Groups of teens walking together and each lost in their own virtual presence. 1.3 million car accidents in the U.S. during 2011 were caused by drivers distracted with their cell phones. You will see people constantly swiping their screens to look for updates, feeds, messages, or just blindly glancing out of habit at their phones, most seemingly with no recognition of what they are doing. The conclusion of the mega machine, the necessary step to furthering the goals of progress, was to eliminate barriers, to make it so we treat phones as an appendage, while the programmers dream of making them one, to make us complicit, to make us comply without even noticing it. I have long held that the genius of civilizers is falsely attributed to manufacturing needs. Simply put, they aren't that smart, and we aren't that gullible. What it does come down to is an understanding of what a human being needs. We are social animals. In our minds and bodies, even when lost in some ridiculous app on an iPhone, we are trying to reconcile the world of the hunter-gatherer with the path that modernity has set us on. For the most part, our emotional and mental freefall is held in place so long as our inertia is matched by social rebounding. Community is etched in our Stone Age soul. We don't just want others, we need them. And herein lies the tragedy. This is our animality being torn from us, repackaged, and then sold back to us. We want movement, we want connectivity, we want contact. And in the absence of the physical, the electric options are literally inescapable waves penetrating our minds and bodies. This is how progress was sold to us, and this is why we buy into this void. Amongst 7 billion people and counting, in a sea of unending electric synapse and stimuli, we are lost, alone, and confused. While it may be utterly unrecognizable, the mound builders of Mesopotamia and the high-tech sweatshop workers serve the same function, to become the apparatus so we may consume it. And that downward spiral is driven by our consumption.